Hey folks, how's it all going today? Hey, I'm just taking a quick before and after, mainly for documentation reasons. We're working on the GS 1150 Adventure today. And I wanted you to see, I kind of pulled the tank off, the seat off, things are off, getting worked on being painted. And I've cleaned things up, just wanted you to see how much better it looks. Now that I've taken a little scrub time, I'm going to clean things better once I get access to them. But you can kind of see how much better things look already. Even the connectors are all been cleaned, and it's amazing what a good clean job can make a bike look so much better. I'm going to come around here so you can see the front. Headlights are all washed and all that fancy stuff. And so it's looking pretty good actually. What's going to happen here is I'm going to get this thing up on my motorcycle lift, my little lift thing, and I'm going to start taking apart the back end of this bike. And I'm going to get all the way down to the transmission. I'm going to pull the transmission out because in this box right here I have a new clutch disc, rear main seals. There's 2 of them on this bike, and I'm waiting for an input shaft and bearings to come, so I'm going to rebuild the transmission and put it all together. So I'm just going to turn this sucker off for a minute, an hour, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 and tear this bike apart, and we'll get down to the transmission. So see you soon. Hey everybody, welcome to the mayhem. Hey, I just got this transmission pulled out, and had some really weird, I've never had this happen before, but I want to show you guys what happened. So first of all, I took all the paralever, excuse me, for the rear, all this miscellaneous parts off, got down to the transmission. I pull out the drain plug, and it's a magnetic drain plug, and you'll see there's all these shavings on there, which is not good. I was like, oh no, something's ground up inside. And then as I was pulling the transmission out, all of a sudden all this crap, you can't see it very good, let me see if I can bring it over here where you can see it a little bit better, started falling off into my hands and into the bucket, and I'm like, I don't remember there being any ball bearings that were supposed to be there. Kind of in the sun here. All of a sudden parts like this, ball bearings and crap, was starting to come out. I'm like, that can't be good. That looks like a bearing. So when I finally pulled the transmission out, which is right there, let's show you what I found. This is where the intermediate shaft is. Input shaft is actually in pretty good shape. Doesn't look too bad at all. The intermediate shaft though, the bearing must have gone bad, and it just blew out this whole retaining part of the case. So that's not good. What that means is I'm going to have to look and see. Now I've already bought parts to rebuild its transmission, but I'm not going to do that because the case is destroyed. So I may just buy a used tranny off of eBay or something and rebuild it. The clutch, which I was thinking it was, I actually can't see too well. The splines on the clutch actually don't look too bad. So I'm going to check that out really good. But while I'm this far into it, we got to do it right. But I don't think I've ever even heard of that happening before. So I'm going to have to reboot, figure out what I'm going to do about that. Start looking around, but definitely not what I expected. Now, is it the end of the world? Hell no. We'll fix this thing up. We'll figure out what we need to do. We won't be repairing that case, that's for sure. I think they come as a match set too, so but the insides might be good. We maybe take the best out of both transmissions and put new bearings and stuff on it and call it good. We'll see. Holy macaroni. Look at all these gears out of the BMW GS. Hey, I want to show you what the final outcome and decision on this transmission is. This shaft right here is the input shaft. That's the clutch drives this side, which then spins this intermediate shaft, which then spins this output shaft. Gears change between these two. This is what goes down the drive line and goes out. Well, as I showed you in the case, there was a crack, there's a breakthrough in the case, but interestingly right here, you can see this bearing right here. Well, my hands are clean, so this bearing right here on the front of the intermediate shaft went south. There's all kinds of bearings and stuff that's all fallen out of the case when I took it apart, and that fits inside of here. You can see right here how the end of that case has just been busted out, because when the bearings came out, it just broke out the whole case. Now, the bad thing about that is the case is toast. However, it could be welded. I consulted with my homies down there at Lindsay Machine, and they can weld it, but I found another problem. You got to inspect everything really closely. This is not the problem. I'll show you just some incidental finding. When that bearing went bad, that intermediate shaft was able to wobble around. Oh, come on, Subaru guy. You can see how the gears rubbed on the side of the case there, and that could be okay. I mean, that wouldn't be a huge problem. It didn't take enough material to be a big problem. However, if I come back to the intermediate gear, let's roll this input shaft out of the way. You can notice, let's see if I can spin around here. You might be able to notice right here the chips in the teeth. There's even more here. You kind of see how the teeth are chipped, and so whatever bearing pieces probably came out, fell out, got chunked up inside of there, and it broke those teeth. Now, I'm certainly not going to go through all this work tearing that bike clear down to the nubbins to put a transmission back together with chipped teeth in the tooth. So here's where you have to make the decision on what do you do. First of all, my anticipation was that it was a bad input shaft, which is a common problem. These input shafts wear out. The clutch wobbles on and makes that terrible noise. So in anticipation, I bought a new input shaft, which is right here, and I plan to put that in there, but that's $330 for that input shaft. The input shaft here is good, the intermediate shaft is bad, but they can't sell individual gears on this. They'll only sell you the whole set or the 3 floating gears. Well, to replace the whole intermediate gear set is $1,000, so that's not going to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a used transmission off of eBay. It's going to be about $400, I think, plus shipping. This intermediate shaft is good. Almost all the eBay transmissions, the input shafts are bad, so I'm going to rebuild the used transmission off of eBay, use this input shaft, have all new bearings here, so I can replace all the bearings, get a good case, because of course the one off of eBay will be good, and then I'll take that input shaft back, which is $330, and I'll only be spending about an additional $150 with a good transmission. So people freak out when they get in this kind of situation, like, oh man, this is terrible, this is horrible, but hey, you know, I've got a good input shaft, there's some good parts that I can use, I can sell some of these other gear sets off, probably end up breaking about even. So that's the status. Next step is order the tranny, get it here, take it apart, rebuild it, put the new bearings and everything, and I got the new clutch and all the mods. I'm going to show you some mods we're doing to that. New rear main seals, and we'll start strapping it back together. It's going to take some time, but I want you guys to see that and what we're thinking here. It's too bad. I was hoping to rebuild this one, but not going to happen, folks. Anyway, you all have happy riding. Peace out. Da facta gone.